Communist North Vietnam was seeking independence after many years of colonial rule in the south. The North Vietnamese army was supported by the Soviet Union, China, and other communist allies, and the South Vietnamese army was supported by the United States, Korea, and others. The Viet Cong, a South Vietnamese communist front, aided by the North, fought a guerrilla war against anti-communist forces in the region, making extensive use of the Cu Chi tunnels. We're on our way to see them. A 120-kilometer long complex of these tunnels has been preserved. Some of the camouflaged entrances are virtually undetectable. They were used by Viet Cong soldiers as hiding spots during combat, as well as serving as communication and supply routes, hospitals, food and weapon caches, and living quarters.
Where I'm standing, you can see the tunnel.
Just look at how small the tunnel is. Absolutely no way.
Surround.
Yeah.
Okay, up. You may go for a swim.
Can you find anyone?
Nobody, no beer. You quickly get to the secret entrance, open the door, and use the gun to shoot at the enemy. So actually, that was called guerrilla way, and we pretend that we have a lot of people, but we actually have just a few. But the way it works, because people move very quick. But of course nowadays, just to prevent it getting, bigger and bigger, so they put the concrete around it, just to protect this little hole. Maybe a bat?
I did, however, go down in this one, but it had been significantly enlarged for us tourists.
Do you need a bit of light? Do you need more light?
I believe there was a meeting room through here. Their exit.
Lower than this, about half meter.
And my modified exit.
Let's go.
All right, we're coming back. I believe that's enough.
This termite mound conceals an air vent. A heap of leaves covers the chimney vents. See the smoke? And we were shown a collection of nasty contraptions to kill and maim the enemy. On the way back to town, we came across these locals, pursuing much more pleasant tasks. We drove around Saigon, now Ho Chi Minh City, the day before the celebrations marking the end of the Vietnam War, 30th of April 1975. On that day, the North Vietnamese tanks rolled into the city crashed through the gates of the presidential palace and hoisted the communist flag. For the US and its South Vietnamese allies, it was a day of panic, chaos, and defeat. Today, of course, Ho Chi Minh is a bustling, thriving communist city, sporting innovative restaurants like this. Although we won't talk about the traffic. The next morning, we were off to explore the Mekong Delta through a brief shower of rain. Passing rice paddies that looked decidedly brown. Maybe the time of the year? Is this the Mekong?
The Mekong, yes, it is.
Never see any drum.
Oh wow, our own great little boat. You can keep the kiwi too, Pete. More into the delta, we get collected by a smaller boat to explore some of the natural canals.
And this is a natural canal.
Rice production and aquaculture are the two main activities in this area. And I thought this was a little backwater canal. We've arrived at our lunch venue. Mr. Keats's historical house. It was built around 150 years ago and features many beautiful, delicately carved wooden panels and columns. Quite outstanding. But of course, we were there for lunch.
So this is your table and your seat.
What a great setting.
The bags over there.
I'm not sure whether we were supposed to handle this ourselves, but thank heavens we had help.
Đồng 4 đó Thắm ơi. Đồng 4 đó. Làm dâu qua đi, tới rồi đó. Với trái cây 4 món nha.
Okay.
Okay.
Then on to the Kai B floating market. All these boats carry different fruits, veggies and other products. They're sort of wholesalers and don't sell small quantities to the public. Pineapple,
It's normally 20
sweet potatoes.
to 50 kilo.
That bucket of water is a bit heavy for this little boy.
They have been to the garden and now they bring here to sell. Normally both anchor next to the other. They are family members or they from the same province. TG is being Tiền Giang province. And each of the boat, they have a small motorized boat at the back for them to go to the mainland for school or for buying stuff. It has fish sauce, soya sauce, and a small bathroom at the back. This is another fruit boat, but also organized for visitors.
We stop off at the Kulong family factory, which produces all manner of interesting things.
Sickle, like this. And they have a scarf, like a scarf I have. No juice anymore, because the juice has gone and absorbed to the shell. To make coconut, they have to do like this.
That's easier.
Yeah, have a look.
Then squeeze it to make coconut milk.
They just use coconut milk with a little bit of gelatin. Why the color look darker.
And then make candy. Wrapped in rice paper.
And from the second, like a 1 3. So the number 6. About 700 to 800 candies per day. But maximum in the high season. Like this will have 40 pieces of candy. So you can get closer.
Fermenting.
So after
Fermented rice to make a sake-like alcoholic drink.
and going to cook, and it's going to get through the pipe, and this is cool water, and it's gathered in here. So that's just clear like water, but about 39%. At the time they will try to have a cobra, but then other type of snake going to enrich the flavor or the taste of it. Here we have a regular snake, and then sometimes
then
you can
ruin
see
it
insect.
by
Can you see the
adding
snake with the
snakes.
skin? Let's see if any clean cup.
That's from there. Cheers.
After 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Braver man than me, sir. This is very interesting. Making rice paper.
To make it tasty. Underneath is boiling water. So the boiling water going to steam and cook the rice milk. So it's just a cloth and underneath boiling water. Very, very simple system. And now she tried to get the rice paper out from that cotton.
What's sesame?
Roasted rice paper.
Lovely.
With sesame.
Yeah. This is the regular long rice. Yeah, the grain, stew with the husk. And then after they pop it, and the material they use for the heat to pop rice is sand, because the sand will keep the natural flavor of the rice.
They got sand in there.
Yeah, that the sand, but because the sand got cooked many times, so the color. So the heat of the sand is already popped.
Making popped rice. Like Rice Krispies.
So next step is separate the sand and pop rice. So the sand go back to the wok, used for other times. And you can see some little on the river. Many times that you use, it turns black. Separate the husk and pop rice. And now this is pop rice. So So this is the candies.
Finally, we sit down to have tea and sample some of their
This is
products.
just a plastic cover. And then take it out. Ginger. This is banana candy and covered with plastic.
And say goodbye to the Delta. From Hanoi, we travel east to Halong Bay. Oh, it's been on my bucket list to walk through a rice paddy. But it's very tricky getting out of them. In my defense, the bank was very crumbly. En route, we visited the Hong Kok Humanities Centre, a handicraft outlet developed to provide support to local communities, in particular those with disabilities. Beautiful work. Can you believe? Then we came across this veggie and herb farm and watched the locals at work. And I gave them a bit of a hand. We arrived at the port a bit late, much to the annoyance of those waiting. And caught the ferry out to our cruise liner. No, not that one, this one. We set off into the bay. Halong means descending dragon. The story goes that way back, to help the Vietnamese fight off invaders, the gods sent a family of dragons to help out. They lived in the bay amongst the monolithic limestone casts, several of which are hollow, resulting in enormous caves. It seems that there are certain spots that the boats gather every now and then, which made it a bit touristy. A community of around 1,600 people live on Halong Bay in 4 fishing villages. Encouraged by the government to fish these waters, they do so with nets as well as fish farms. They live in rather drably painted floating houses and are sustained through fishing and marine aquaculture. There are 3 other such floating villages scattered throughout Halong Bay, some quite large. Collectively, these fishermen supply seafood to all of Vietnam, particularly Hanoi. In addition, they are developing markets for farm-raised seagrasses, seaweed and shrimp. It's early morning, and with the grey clouds low overhead, there's a mysteriously quiet, almost surreal atmosphere. As it grew lighter, the mood changed a little, but still very beautiful. And what a setting to do a little Tai Chi. I must admit some of these boats put our little tub to shame. But it was clean and very comfortable. Now we're off to do a little kayaking on a separate part of the bay. Local supermarket. And yes, that's me, can you believe? Watch this intricate maneuver. I think I actually look like a seasoned campaigner. First I go shopping and then off to explore the area. Next, they took us to one of the smaller caves. Which led us through the rock to a small lake in its center.
Outside. The water below.
Then we head back to the mothership as night falls. The next morning, they take us to the Sang Sot Grotto. It's quite a climb to the entrance, but great views. The cave has 2 huge chambers, and the lighting on the walls and ceilings make for spectacular viewing. It's one of the finest grottos of Halong Bay. From Ho Chi Minh City, right in the south of Vietnam, we had flown way north to the capital, Hanoi, and then driven out to Halong Bay. We were now driving back into Hanoi for the last leg of our journey. Our hotel was situated in the old quarter. That's it there with the white front. The TV was full of the anniversary celebrations in Ho Chi Minh City. That evening, we ventured out into the old quarter. The streets were packed with scooters, bicycles, and cars swarming around pedestrians like a school of fish. We're walking across this intersection. Clean-up time. I went for a walk early next morning to watch the people preparing for the day. The old quarter is actually considered the city's business hub. The preserved shop houses that lie along these roads were built a little over a century ago and were constructed in their long, narrow style to avoid being hit by high taxes. There's a vibrant street culture where daily activities such as haircutting and food stalls take place on these cramped sidewalks. Yeah. Damn tourists blocking up the roads. Nothing like weeing into the gutter. Very pretty around Hon Kim Lake. the Water Puppet Theatre. See my separate video. Here we go again.
Just keep moving,
Okay. We're crossing the road again. Oh my God. It works like a charm. Remember the coffee club, Peter? Okay, Pete, this is your intersection. I have just walked across here, boy. Unreal how the traffic just flows in all directions. We drove briefly through the newer parts of the city, the International Conference Centre, and the Opera House, before visiting the Dong Sam Market. It's the largest covered market in Hanoi, where wholesale traders sell everything from clothes, household goods to foodstuffs. Not really for tourists, but interesting enough. Is fruit or food?
Food.
Food. Bamboo shoot,
Yeah. Fungus.
fungus, mushroom, I would
Yeah.
presume.
Most Vietnamese old people, men, they use it.
Dried shrimp. They always have these strange creatures that they're carving up. It's no wonder they're all so thin. Would you eat if this is all you had to eat? Then our guide took us down this little side alley to have iced tea. Iced tea.
Yes.
Sao không đi du lịch vào mùa đông ấy?
A huge chunk of ice goes into the tea.
Why don't have spend holiday?
I'm worried about this. Where did they get the water from to make the ice? I ask myself.
Ice tea. Wow, it's good. How about it? It's good. And you?
It's good.
It's good, yes.
Then round the corner, down another little alley for lunch. Over there. Oh my word. I must tell you that this was a really fantastic and tasty experience.
The shrimp cake, you see the
Sitting
shrimp?
in a little back alley, bikes going past a foot away, having lunch in Vietnam.
Rice powder and they fry.
Then it was on to pay a visit to some Chinese shops, selling very colourful merchandise. One of the problems is the chairs are about 1 foot high. Raw pork fermented and then fried. Right? So I got beer. And this is the chili sauce that we dip it in. A brief walk around the War Museum. And a last look at the fascinating streets of the old quarter.